So I'm thrilled to introduce our speaker today, Shin Adachi. He's a cybersecurity consultant with a lot of certifications and qualifications. The session title for today is Beyond the CSRB Report, Critical Cloud Lessons for Today and Tomorrow. So please welcome Shin Adachi.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me all right? Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for coming to my talk today after your lunch. And I hope this works. And thank you for your kind introduction, Daksha. Oh, this is a standard disclaimer from RSA, so you know. But I only have three things. One, what I'm going to talk about is my own personal views and opinions, not somebody else's. Two, all trademarks or intellectual properties are the properties of their respective owners. Third, I am going to talk about a little bit about CSRB report, but I'm just a reader of the report. I have no relationships with, or I have no conflict of interest with CSRB or any author of the report. Before I start, let me explain how I ended up here today. It all started from this email. So when I hope, okay, it works. When I first check it, I have some immediate red flags, like Friday. Somehow on Fridays, I tend to see a lot of incidents happens for whatever the reason. January 31st, which happened to be my birthday, so perfect timing to lure me. And here's a reminder. I have no idea, reminder of what. And it says again. And there are some red flags, like some important tasks require my attention now. And here is a URL I was supposed to click. Suspicious enough, huh? And can I continue? It makes me really skeptical, but at the same time, when I went through the whole process to verify if the authenticity of this message, I found how tricky it is to find out something legitimate. And the mystery was solved because the original acceptance notification was in my spam folder, which is well-crafted HTML mail, while it was legitimate, but without signed by PGP key. So it goes straight to the spam folder. So this is almost the first time to get the spam-like message turned out to be legitimate. And thanks RSAC for your kind reminder. So topic today. Now, I'll be discussing the report released by the Cyber Safety Review Board, the CSRB, on April 2nd, 2024, last year, or I would say almost about a year ago. Here's a cover of the report, along with a link where you can access it. I highly recommend security professionals, IT professionals, auditors, and decision makers or whoever else to review this report if you are running a computer connected to the network. But why? Why this report? This investigation delves into a major real-world incident that affected multiple stakeholders. It offers rare, unprecedented insights into the inner workings of a cloud service provider, an area that's often viewed as a black box from us, and the end users. And this report goes beyond just the victim organizations. It also examines the responses from the cloud service provider, government authorities, and other involved parties, providing a comprehensive understanding of the situation, I would say, incident. And this report filled with valuable lessons for incident responders, that's my day-to-day job, auditors, decision makers, cloud service providers, government officials, and more. I will walk you through some of the key lessons I think we can learn from this report. But again, I'm just a reader of the report. So this is today's agenda. First, I'm going to talk about incident overview, what happened, to give you the basic idea if you didn't have a chance to go through the report itself. And then I'll take a look at how different parties, stakeholders responded to the incident. And this time, I'll pick up how victims did, what victims did, and what cloud service provider did, and how. And based on that, we are going to explore unknowns. We still don't know what we still don't know, and implications after the incident, or I would say even after the report. And to conclude, what lessons can we learn from this report? Nothing fancy, but again, thank you for coming. So let's start from the incident overview. What happened? According to the investigation, a threat actor successfully compromised Microsoft Exchange Online mailboxes, including those belonging to US government agencies and 3 think tanks. Among the compromised accounts were those of high-ranking officials, such as United States Secretary of Commerce, US Ambassador to China, Assistant Secretary of State, and a congressman. And all targeted right before Secretary of State's visit to Beijing in mid-June 2023. They are not the only victims. Other victims included 4 foreign government entities, 3 private sector organizations, and 4 educational institutions. In addition, more than 500 individuals' mailboxes were compromised, many linked to entities associated with countries across Western Europe, Asia Pacific, Latin America, and the Middle East. And this report attributes the attack, attributes the attack to Storm 0558, a group assessed to be affiliated with China for espionage. The attack was carried out using authentication tokens signed by a valid Microsoft Services account, or MSA signing key. Again, signed by a valid signing key, which Microsoft had created back in 2016, 7 years before the incident was discovered. The intrusion was first detected by the State Department SOC on June 15, 2023, even before it was detected by the cloud service provider. Here's a quick timeline. According to the report, the story began in 2016 when Microsoft issued an MSA signing key that would later be used in this attack. In late 2021, the adversary gained access to Microsoft engineers' account through a compromised device. Two years later, on May 15th, 2023, the first instance of mailbox exfiltration was observed. On June 6th, the attacker accessed the Commerce Department's mailboxes. On June 15th, a month after the first incident, the State Department SOC detected the intrusion, marking the start of the incident response. Again, all of this occurred just before the Secretary of State's visit to Beijing in mid-June 2023. So, who is this guy? Who is Storm 0558 who made a massive attack? The report says it operates as its own distinct group, and it collects information for Chinese intelligence needs, and it has a possible link to Operation Aurora in 2009, the famous for APT1, and RSA Secure ID token seed breach in 2011. So to me, in short, this guy is a professional sniper or assassin for many of us. And in response to this incident, CSRB issued 25 recommendations covering a broad spectrum of focus areas. I'm not going into each individually, but I made this table to give you a high-level overview, and I believe my slide is already distributed to you, so you can just take a look. But my point here is pretty much wide-ranging, how wide range of concerns they have, from a security culture and priorities of cloud service providers to logging practices, technical standards, and recommendations for government actions. So now, let's take a look at incident responses by different stakeholders, studying victims, how they found the problem and how they responded. Once the State Department SOC detected and analyzed the intrusion, they promptly reached out to the cloud service provider on the following day, which happened to be Friday. Big incidents tend to happen on Friday. But they quickly confirmed that the Storm 0558 had accessed the State Department's Outlook web access. Additionally, they identified 21 more organizations and over 500 related users affected by this breach. The report highlights that the State Department SOC had purchased enhanced logging in addition to basic one. And also, they internally developed tool, Big Yellow Taxi, analyzed these logs and alerted the SOC for anomalies. And interestingly, this report says enhanced logging alone wouldn't have been useful without proper analysis, as usual. And Big Yellow Taxi was key in this process, particularly in analyzing the mail items access log, the most critical log. Sorry about that. Oh. Mail items access log. The most critical log in this incident. According to CISA, the threat actor could not have avoided generating this specific log during the intrusion, which means this is a trail of the attacker. According to the report, Big Yellow Taxi offers several advanced features, including custom alerting based on 3 years of experience. The tool curates log events, such as critical mail items access log, and detects deviations by comparing baseline interactions of apps with Exchange Online. So pretty critical one in this, as far as this incident is concerned. On the other hand, there's another victim, Commerce Department. They still couldn't determine exactly what happened during the attack. Why? They lacked enhanced logging, including the critical mail item access log. The cloud service provider began providing enhanced logs after the fact. However, they were unable to provide historical logs from the time of the intrusion, as noted in the report. So I made this table for a quick view to explain why was the State Department SOC able to detect the incident before the cloud service provider. Logs and the investment matter. The State Department had not only enhanced logging, but also their own tool, Big Yellow Taxi, to analyze the logs. This demonstrates investment is crucial since the State Department invested in enhanced logging and their own tool. They are better equipped to detect the incident in this case. So let's take a look at the what cloud service provider did. And first, let's take a look at their challenges. Currently, they were unable to detect the intrusion before their customer, and they couldn't even provide historical enhanced logs during the intrusion for Commerce Department. And what was the key, the root cause of this intrusion? A key was a key. According to the report, 3 significant issues with key management led to breach. First, the signing key Microsoft issued in 2016, we talked about a little bit earlier at the beginning, was used in this attack, and it wasn't revoked until June 24th, 2023, 7 years after it had been created and after the incident happened. Second, this signing key was intended only for consumer Outlook web access. However, it worked for Enterprise Exchange Online as well. That's why State Department was attacked, as well as Commerce and others. But again, this signing key was supposed to work only for consumer Outlook web access. Third, there was no automated key rotation system for consumer MSA, and even manual key rotation process stopped in 2021, allowing this signing key to persist for long. So there are overlapped unfortunates. CSRB assessed this signing key could have been used to compromise even other Microsoft cloud applications and even third-party applications relying on Microsoft identity provider. Remember, this key was supposed to work only for consumer Outlook web access. This report also mentions that the Microsoft believed an engineer from a company they had acquired was compromised. However, they still couldn't explain how Storm 0558 obtained this key. But regardless, I think we must recognize same or similar compromise could happen to any of us, whether during merger and acquisitions or within our supply chains. There are some good news. They had the incident response and the escalation procedures in place, including preset urgency levels and emergency communication to senior leadership. They quickly initiated cross-team coordination and began the investigation as soon as they received a notification from the State Department, again, even on Friday. And the government authorities, there are some interesting stories before we take a look at the unknowns and their lessons. Intelligence and law enforcement agencies supported the victimized government entities, such as State and Commerce Departments. FBI assisted both State and Commerce Departments and even collaborated with cloud service provider for victim notification. And the interesting aspect of this incident is that according to this report, they obtained a disk image from a US-based VPS provider that hosted the attacker's infrastructure after a legal process, after issuing a legal process. Yeah, this is something law enforcement can do. CISA, they did a lot. They helped both Commerce and the State respond to the incident. They analyzed the disk image and made their findings available to a broader group. Another interesting, they tested to emulate API used by the threat actor to exfiltrate email. So basically, they simulated what exactly threat actor did, and assessed that their threat actor could not avoid generating the mail item access log data. So it's a critical trail in this incident. So they found the clue or trails of the attacks. And they worked with international partners and the CSP, cloud service provider. But there are still unknowns, and there are implications after the incidents and even after the report. And we are going to explore what lessons we can learn from this incident. First, unknowns. Still, no sufficient logs available for Commerce Department for them to learn what exactly happened during this intrusion. Again, attacker was, to me, the professional sniper or assassin, but at this moment, no way for them to know what exactly happened. And the cloud service provider still could not explain how the Storm 0558, the attacker, had obtained the signing key issued in 2016. And implications. On June 19th, 2023, just over a month after the intrusion was detected on June, and on July 19th, a month after, CISA announced that Microsoft would provide enhanced logging at no additional charge. Yes, enhanced logging, the critical log. This includes the very critical log, the State Department, for State Department to detect the incident. And this is another article. And just a few months ago, on January 15th, 2025, CISA released Microsoft expanded Cloud Logs implementation playbook. Too long, so playbook. Here, we can find a mail items access log. Remember, the critical trail. And there's another page. And also here, the mail items access log, the first among others. So it's highlighting how important this trail was. And other implications. Microsoft has been improving authentication for their employees, including China. Bloomberg reported this in July last year, and PCMag followed up, quoting Bloomberg's article and adding more technical details like this I just highlighted. PCMag implied that this was part of Microsoft's ongoing efforts following the first recommendation about security culture from the CSRB. As PCMag reported, the CSRB strongly recommended that Microsoft overhaul its security culture. In September 2024, last year, Microsoft responded by launching their Secure Future initiative, spearheaded by top executives. This initiative includes a commitment to tying security performance to both employee and executive compensation, along with other significant organizational changes. These actions appear to be a direct response to the CSRB's strong recommendations. And I'm opening my notes. And just last week, what's the name of the document? Oh, they released a Secure Future Initiative progress report and a blog. stating good news is, according to them, they have moved signing keys to HSMs or hardware secure modules with automatic rotation turned on. They also said every Microsoft employee now has a secure core priority tied directly to performance reviews. Ooh. If you're interested in this, take a look at the report. You can just search it. Now, lessons we could learn from this report, I would say, from this incident. Well, as you know, cloud, it's just someone else's computer. And clouds are not easy outsourcing for quick cost reduction either. I'm sorry if there's any CEO or very high level people, but it's not an easy solution because we, the users, still need to monitor the cloud and still need to respond to the incidents. And we, the users, may even need to develop our own tools when necessary, like State Department did. Cloud service providers cannot necessarily do everything we need. And on the other hand, we never know we can pay for all we need, even if they could. And unfortunately, cloud service providers can be compromised as well, like us. Logs. Yes, logs matter. Everybody says that. But do we know exactly what logs we need in our specific environment? Can our cloud service provider deliver them in a timely manner? Do we know what logs are monitored and analyzed now at this moment when you are away from the office? Remember, State Department SOC took proactive steps by investing in enhanced logging and developing their own log analysis tool before the incident. Key management and identity and access management do matter. If you take a look at the report as highlighted in the remediation and recovery section of the report, by the way, on page 14, most remediation efforts focused on key revocation, authentication, authorization, and tokens, core elements of key management and identity management. And it's the most difficult challenge, but are decision makers fully aware of the importance of investment? I mean, I would say right investment. Challenge for me too. Closed incident. A closed incident isn't always the end. We must always keep in mind that the closure of the incident can mark the beginning of something new and potentially bigger for our businesses, as demonstrated by CSAT's and Microsoft's follow-up actions. The implications we just discussed highlight how an incident can impact the entire organization and the stakeholders long after it's considered closed. After such a big incident, improvements to critical elements, whatever that is, will require various stakeholders to update existing practices, guidelines, policies or even controls accordingly. And finally, I highly recommend reviewing the full report to uncover additional lessons that I couldn't cover today, or you can find more than I can do. And this is a template I got from RSAC, but as we dive into this report, I think it may be a good opportunity to revisit ourselves, who we are, and what we are doing from a security and operational standpoint. And here are some key areas I think we can do now from lessons from this report. Key management. How are our keys being managed? Are the processes clear, and are they being followed consistently? Remember, the signing key survived for 7 years until incident happens without automated rotation or even manual rotation, and which was supposed to work only for consumer services, but as a matter of fact, it worked for almost all the services. Scary. So it's like you left your home key or your car's key somewhere on the ground, you can use this freely or something like that. Digital identities. It might be a good time to double check everything related to digital identity. It might be helpful to revisit NIST SP 863, the gold standard for digital identity management. It's going to be renewed soon because just recently they finished the most recent public comments. Log management. Are we collecting the right logs? How are they being stored, monitored, and analyzed? Or are they just sitting there untouched, taking your disk space? Cloud configurations and subscriptions. Let's take a close look at your cloud environments. Are configurations secure and aligned with best practices? Are we even aware all of the services we are paying for? What do I have next? Oh, inventories. CIS, formerly SANS, critical security controls, they have long prioritized the inventory as their controls number one, number two, for good reasons. It's a challenge, but do we really have up-to-date inventories to do the tasks I just listed? There may be more. And in the next 3 months, I would say it's to share, I would suggest to share these findings with stakeholders such as your IT, sysadmin, their management, decision makers, whoever you think the right people. And the next 6 months, I would track the progress, what was resolved, what was not yet resolved, and why, what the challenges, and can they be really fixed? If not, you have to talk to C-level officers because it's apparent risk. Do we still have time for questions? There are 2 microphones. Yes, please, sir.
Yeah, Hello, thanks for the presentation.
Thank you.
So just wondering, did someone ever find out how the Microsoft key was finally compromised? But if we don't know what happened, that means it could happen again.
Great question. That's one of the unknowns. As far as I know from the report, they told CSRB one of the employee who originally came from the company they acquired, his device was compromised, and the key was. That's all what they told CSRB. However, they still couldn't explain how they got this key, specific key. But thank you, that's something really important. Any other questions or any technical questions too, if I have an answer? If not, again, thank you very much for coming to my talk. And I hope you enjoy your conference.